Hey, this is Rocket Brain Surgeon. Today we're looking at the T71. This is a Tier 7 US light tank characterized by awesome mobility and an autoloader. The gun features 170 penetration on the base round with 150 alpha. The intra-clip reload time is 2 seconds between shots. And the entire clip reloads in just 20 seconds. What do all those numbers mean? Well, 6 in the clip with 150 alpha means there is 900 total damage in the clip. This is enough to leave a dent in any enemy that you come across. It's also enough to just cycle out scouts when you meet them very early in the game. However, it does take 10 seconds to empty that full 900 damage, and the single shot alpha at 150 merely tickles anybody you're going to come across. There are going to be several instances in this game where Garbad is able to deal a single shot of damage, but that doesn't change the situation of the enemy. What I mean by that is the enemy has around 300 HP, he reduces them to about 150 HP, but there are 6 tanks on Garbad's team who can deal 390 damage in a shot, so it ends up not really mattering. However, the T71 is an overall acceptable sniper because of its mobility. It's able to move freely around the map, and the ability to quickly reload and crank out another 900 damage should not be overlooked. Right now, he is sitting, you can see, roughly about 400 meters away from the enemy. This allows him to remain camouflaged while dealing damage. He's 384 meters away from the Hellcat. However, the tanks in front of him are not exactly known for their view range. If these were Tier 10 enemies, you'd probably want to be a little bit farther away, around 400 to 420-ish meters away, rather than about 380. When you're spotted, it's not going to go that well for you because there's no armor on the tank. It's a light tank. Everybody should pretty much know this and accept this as fact by now. With 840 HP, the tank is able to just survive 2 shots from 390 alpha guns, so it'll take roughly 3 shots to destroy it in a Tier 8, Tier 9 battle. When it gets to Tier 10 with the tank destroyers that have 750 alpha, yeah, maybe sometimes you're going to get high rolled and get 1 shot, but you should be able to survive to take another shot. However, being only able to take 2 shots does not exactly leave a lot of room for error. And as we saw right there, the base round of APCR, while reliable, is not exactly a powerhouse, and it's going to have problems going through the front of most tanks. But this is the T71 with its awesome mobility and solid camouflage. It should not have to go through the front of most tanks. After a little bit more sniping up north, it turns out that the south is having trouble. There were really no tanks that went down south, and so the enemy has penetrated along the K line. Here we're seeing both the pros and the cons of the autoloader. Yes, Garbad was able to land 5 out of 6 of those shots, but the T25/2, who was ignoring him for half of them, still had time in that 10 seconds to turn his turret and land a shot on Garbad, and the low alpha of the gun means when he missed one, yeah, the T25/2 is just going to live for a while longer. However, the game has kind of moved into the perfect situation for a light autoloader. There are enemies scattered all over the map. They've all taken significant attrition damage, and so he can just run around the map and pretty much clean up, because anyone that he meets, he'll be able to clip them out. He still has an important amount of hit points, so he can eat a 400 damage shot if need be and still live. The fire control of the T71 is not amazing. He might have rushed the shot a little bit on the M5 Stuart, and missing one allowed the Stuart to live just a little bit longer. So the game went from 6 to 10 up to 10 and 10, and now he has to make a choice. Does he want to go north towards the buildings, or does he want to go south towards more flank shots? And he chooses to go the south route. The reason why is because the south should be completely open. He tells his teammates that he is going to get artillery. If the south was not completely open, he would still have more enemies to fight in his base along the K line, and since those are all gone, it's a fairly good guess that there's no one down here and there's no one guarding tracks. Just as assumed, there is nobody along the south tracks. Artillery is spotted repositioning because he knows the T71 was last spotted on the south, and why not go pick up a free kill? Now this next part is personal preference, but Garbad chooses to go south along the tracks again and reinforce his teammates where they're meeting the enemy at the point of contact. The argument to be made for going back this way is because he's not quite sure where the other enemies are, and he could meet them in some very unexpected and awkward situations where he can't exactly extract himself. There's a lot of open area on the A and B lines where if he gets caught in the open, there's just not a lot he can do. So he takes a bit of a safer option and goes to move where he finds his team. There's still flanking opportunities. He can use the basin area in the C5, D5 area to flank enemies that way. This is just a bit more of a safer play. I cut out a bit more travel time because while working the clock and being patient is great for winning games, it is not that entertaining or informative. He's again worked himself into the bread and butter position where you want to be with an autoloader behind somebody with a full clip. And even then it does not look that impressive. However, I bet the 112 disagrees, saying that dropping 750 damage into him in 10 seconds was a bad time. The T71 remains a highly effective light tank, using its mobility for an active or passive scouting role, and when the time comes, putting 900 damage into a select tank is going to change the game. Garbad wrote a full review on the tank, link in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.